Justin, we're way into January. What are you guys planning at Ugu South Coast Tourism for the new year?
Yeah, we certainly don't have time to sort of jump onto a hammock and have a sleep. Our forward planning is looking very encouraging. Easter's cropping up, as you well know, and we do have a contracted events organizer putting events towards those Easter events, which we think is a very significant family time. But the big one, and I'm pleased to inform you that the signs are extremely positive that the Africa Bike Week's commitment to the South Coast is going to be sustained for a longer period of time. There has been, shall we say, more investment in the event, and we are very pleased that it'll become shall we say, the home. The South Coast will remain the home of Africa Bike Week. That's major.
Just on a point of interest or information, the contract ran out last year, so they have to renew. Is that correct?
Yes, the contract ran out last year, but there was a clause within it that had an option to extend for an indefinite period, and that is being cemented as we speak. It won't be an extra outlay from our point of view. The province has come to the party because they see that this is being a very important event. And then going forward, even beyond that, if you look at the Sardine Festival, we're looking at expanding the event calendar. I've been speaking to, for example, the Lions Club to see if perhaps they can then change their dates towards being part of the Sardine Festival as well. And so the more events we have as part of that particular package makes our July, shall we say, more busy. We're also having a relook at the Africa Marine and Leisure Expo to see whether or not that is the right fit at that time of the year. And it may well be we create a new event that is specifically generating interest, particularly for the Scott Brome-Donau area. Sport, we are looking at, and I've got discussions next week with surfing entities to see if we can't get a really big surfing festival type thing, but not a pro thing. It's more of a celebratory fellowship thing within the surfing context, because surfing tourism is huge, absolutely huge. School sport is important. Sadly, the netball was not contracted to be here permanently, and they obviously rotate around South Africa, so they won't be here. So we've got a few rands and cents that we can now investigate, looking at replacement events of that nature, because I believe youth is very important for our tourism, because they generally bring their parents. And certainly the music and the cultural heritage is vitally important too, and one of the radio stations is looking at perhaps doing some cultural events as well. And I think that's part and parcel of our mandate, is to really profile some of our local talent within the context of events, and that also includes the Lion Show for that matter. But yeah, I believe in cementing the quality rather than quantity within the events context, and also the quality of our service offerings, because the experience and the value of the stay are, to me, very important ingredients in bringing people back. And we've also noticed, funny enough, that foreigners are now starting to take an interest in the South Coast more than perhaps they were before. And if we look at the Christmas season, and they're wanting those experiences and wanting those events. So if one has a peak season, the more piggyback events that we have means that they've got more choice, and then they go back with a good experience. Otherwise, they say, what have I done on a bad weather day, for example? Then now there are options.
Yeah, and then of course there's the nudism beach, or the naturist beach.
Yeah, the naturist beach, that's still to be ratified in the various authorities, and I believe there's a sort of people are contesting it. But I'm yet to get feedback on the naturist community as to how busy it was this season. I certainly wasn't going to take my kit off and go and look for myself. I think people would have run off the beach, to be quite honest. But yeah, and we've done a mid-year strategy, a mid-year review, for example, and all things seem to be on track. We are looking at longer-term contracts with event organisers so that there's continuity within the planning and management of certain events. And we'll be working with our municipalities to enhance perhaps what programs they may have well in place as well.
Have you guys ever thought of starting something like the arts festivals, that they have all over the country, Oppikoppi or music festivals? They have one in Nelspruit, they have one all over, and they all seem to be very, very successful. So shouldn't you guys start something like down here?
There is a possibility. I've been throwing sort of ideas around about a World Soki Championships or something like that. But I think the big music event that we have is Ugu Jazz Festival. There's a different clientele, there's a different genre of music, but certainly that is our biggest one. Certainly the popularity of those type of Oppikoppis and those sort of things in music festivals do have legs. It's a matter of what type of artist.
And they're very multicultural too, multiracial.
Yeah. So there is cause for investigation. What we have in our strategies is that every year I've got to conceptualize a certain type of event. Whether or not we run with it is another thing, because my belief is that we need to contract it out to people who run events. Otherwise, we'll be busy rather than keeping our eye on the ball. And so yes, we continue looking at new ideas. As I said, there was a surfing one. I'm looking at a bowls event going forward. And we're also investigating what we call an Indo-Africa Golf Challenge to try and bring Indian businessmen out to the South Coast in particular, to look at investment opportunities, but using the sport of golf as a conduit from the golf tourism point of view as well. So we will continue in our marketing spend, our advertising spend. We spend on average around about 180 to 250,000 every quarter on advertising. We'll be expanding our, should we say, marketing message electronically. And last year we did, I think, 25 promotions to trade and consumers all over the country, which was far more than we'd ever done before, and we'll sustain that as well. Because, unless you keep on reminding people that you're there, they soon forget about you. So to us, marketing is the critical one. Yeah.
Justin, finally, you mentioned Umdoni and Scottburgh.
Yes.
Now, maybe it's an uninformed question, but shouldn't there be a bigger focus there as well?
I know we certainly are paying attention to that. My media team have been instructed to get far more media presence up there. We are having a greater involvement with the SANI to see in Joburg to see organisers. There's going to be almost like a full-on partnership as far as the finish is concerned. Certainly from the point of view of our investment within the Africa Marine and Leisure Expo context, we will sustain that. And we will be supporting other events related to TC Robertson and also the Classic Car Club that we've supported in the past, because sporadic events actually do keep the little town going. We are I've been sitting on the project steering committee for the urban redesign of Scottburgh, and that's a very, very positive development, and if they can get the investment for that, I think Scottburgh will become a gem on the South Coast. It really will. So yes, we're very much hands-on. We do have an area committee there, and they obviously feed information to me in terms of what the requirements in fact are. Certainly going forward, Scottburgh isn't, shall we say, out on the periphery as far as our mindset is. It's actually the gateway to the South Coast.
Justin, thank you very much.